case the main character told the male lead about at the end of book one becomes important throughout book two. There was actually more information that the main character didn't tell the male lead, but he does at a housewarming party for the crush. The crush has a new place. They're all there to celebrate. They find the case file, and he and them go into more detail about what happened in the case. The little girl who was kidnapped, she was not the only one who was kidnapped. 6 other girls were, and just like her, 5 of the other girls were never found. Her father, when searching for his daughter, came across a teacher that was being very suspicious, the man he ends up killing, the one they find the little girl with. He had been told also by the little girl's classmate that the teacher was acting strange with the little girl, had basically grabbed the little girl and took off with her. So him and the little boy went after the teacher and the little girl, and he witnesses the teacher trying to drag the little girl into his house and was trying to do things to the little girl. He had already sent the little boy off to go get help. And he decided to, do things in his own hands since the police wasn't doing anything, because his daughter was the first victim and this little girl would have been the 7th victim. All the little girls who were kidnapped were pre-teenagers and at the time were wearing floral dresses. And he decided to take justice in his own hands because he didn't trust the police. Because again, he had went to the main character's teacher to inform the teacher, and this dude tried his best to do things without, trying to ruin a man's life, because getting, basically accused of something like that will ruin your life. And he didn't find anything suspicious. But he didn't inform that he was looking into it to the father of this case, and the dude decided to take it on his own hands. And he tells all of this to the main character later when the main character goes around questioning people. At the housewarming party, the male lead meets a little girl, and this little girl is tied to the crush through the crush's crush. She is a family member of the woman. And the male lead had to go out to get stuff for the electricity because the electricity went out. And she decides to follow the male lead because she needs a new coloring book. So the male lead buys her a new coloring book. They get ice cream before they return to the party. And that's when the male lead realizes someone's been watching them, and specifically watching the little girl, and he knows he needs to get her out of there. So he basically picks her up and basically rushes back to the apartment. And he's giving her the full-on guardian parent speech that we all have heard in our entire lives, stranger danger, but also warns her that people close to her could be dangerous too. And that she needs to be wary of any adults that she doesn't know or trust, or even adults she knows and trusts, that she needs to be wary of them. And then later, he leaves a little note after he leaves the party to tell the crush to go and forewarn the parents of what he had saw at the park when they were getting ice cream. 2 hijackers hijacked a bus, and they were able to do it because one of the hijackers, the older one, was the bus driver of the bus, and the bus had a bunch of kids returning back from a field trip and one teacher with them. And they pull on the ploy of making the woman believe that the older hijacker is also being hijacked with them, until he reveals, after she already gets badly injured by the younger hijacker, his true identity and that he's part of this whole hijacking ploy. The parents of the children are worried. The police are worried. The main character is involved with it because it's his police department that's involved in it. And the male lead and his crew of rich boys were around the same location, and when they get basically the red alert of a kidnapped bus full of children, they basically get their squad all rounded up and they go to where the last location those kids were found at, and they find the bus and they make sure that bus can't move. They basically are twirling around the bus until the police were able to arrive to the location and get to the kids. All the kids except for one of the children is safe and sound. This child was a little girl in a floral dress. She had gotten off the bus when her teacher had the 2 hijackers distracted. She basically crawled out of there, got away, and she came across a vehicle with an older man and a child in it. And the child basically soothes her and convinces her to get into the vehicle, and she is kidnapped. And the police don't realize that she's been kidnapped at first. They think she's gotten off the bus, she's somewhere in the forest. They think it's a safe, sound location because, again, this is a tourist location. There's a bunch of tourist areas. The forest is safe and sound because there's no, animals there. Like, they think they can find the little girl until they realize they find her footprints near the prints of a vehicle, and they realize she's been caught, that she's been kidnapped. There's two reasons why they tie her case with those 6 cases 20 years prior is because, one, she was wearing a floral dress, and two, a tape recording is sent to the parents of the child of their child screaming. And during the cases of those kidnapped kids 20 years ago, their parents would get calls with their child in the background screaming. It's typically a little girl screaming. And the first parents, the father who went and took justice in his own hands, he knew that was his daughter because she had a little pencil case that was metal that she put bells in. She would shake to make noise. And the little girl over the call was screaming, and he could hear her pencil case shaking in the background. So yes, now they're sure that this case is involved in the year 21 year prior. And they're thinking, is this a copycat? But it can't be a copycat because the middle box with the, bells in it, it has to be tied to that. Because outside of the police and the parents of that little girl, no one knew about that. So they need to look into everything. Like I said, they were looking into everybody involved in that case. One of the people they have to look into is the survivor of the case. And they look into her, and she had a promising future because she was going to a nice school on a scholarship through dance until she was caught by her teacher. And after she was caught by her teacher, her life went downhill. She was pregnant by her teenage years. She was just a mess. And she ended up just recently dying months prior to when the cases started. They also questioned the little boy that the father of the first victim told them about. They hunt him down, they get him to the station, and he's acting like he don't remember anything from that time period. Zitch to zero anything. But somehow he can remember the last victim's dress looked like at the time. But he doesn't remember any other details. The little buddy the male lead had made at the housewarming party, she ends up getting kidnapped while waiting for her dad to come pick her up at the center. He had told her to stay at her spot, and she, with a group of her friends, had basically moved from that spot to take photos because one of the boys needed to take photos for his photography class, and they returned. She realized her phone was missing. An upperclassman of hers hid the phone to lure her away and be like, oh, you can't find your phone, I would help you find your phone. Then when she isn't able to find her phone, lure her home, then keep her there, and then return back to hide the phone to give her more time.